guitar is one of my most favorite instruments. It allows me to be able to express myself. It's very beautiful. But you know, it's interesting how that when I was little, I told some people that I knew how to play one time. And I didn't know how to play, really. My mother had bought me a guitar, but it was a guitar that was, well, it was a cheap one, but it was a guitar that I learned how to play, but only while it was out of tune. What happens is that one day at school, they told everyone to bring their favorite albums, or if they had a guitar, they could bring the guitars and instruments and could play. And I was so crazy and so stupid and so foolish, I brought my guitar up there. And that was a great day of embarrassment. So there was a friend of mine named Brett Christensen who could play the guitar. And he picked up my guitar and he said, ooh, he says, this is really out of tune. He said, let me tune it up for you. And oh no. I was caught. I only knew how to play one or two finger songs, you know. I didn't know how to play a guitar that had been tuned. Well, I had to admit before the whole class that I was wrong, that I was in error, that I did not know how to play. But that wasn't where it stopped. All my life I've had to admit to myself and to my fellow brethren that I'm wrong. But only until recently have I realized how important and how wonderful that gift really is, to be able to say that we're wrong. You see, in God's kingdom, things are perfect, and when you mess up, something has to perish. And I learned that in the gospel of Christ, Christ came to this world to die so that we could say that we were wrong. In my personal experience, I've misrepresented Christ many times, many times. I was a born know-it-all. Only recently do I discover that I know nothing. I thank God for this experience, because without Christ I would have obtained nothing. I'm a person who travels. I've been over to Israel and different parts of the world on secret missions in God's work. But still I don't know anything. Because the more I learn about Hebrew, and the more I learn about culture and nature and human societies and stuff, the more I realize I don't know. But I do know one thing, that God does love me. And though I've misrepresented God's image and have made many people blaspheme God by the way I present God, the Lord still loves me. There was a person on the cross with Christ who learned the lesson. On his death cross, so to speak. And this person finally admitted that he was wrong too, that his life had been nothing but foolishness, and that the wages of sin is death. So God has given us an ability to say we are wrong. The song which we're fixing to sing is a song that came to me after I realized that as a Christian I thought many ways were the way I thought they were, but it turned out to be they were not that way at all. Who am I to preach to someone what they must do to be saved when I myself have not yet known? We're saved by hope, and not through faith, not of ourselves. It's the gift of God. But I do know one thing, that when I tell somebody that their sins are forgiven, when they're low and in despair, and when they are looking for a way out and cannot understand. And I tell them about Christ and what Christ has done for them. God himself died that we may live, if we would only acknowledge our sins and forsake our sins. And we can't even do that, except the Spirit of God moves upon our hearts. And it's not a feeling, it's an acknowledgement. It's an admittance that we are wrong. This song came to me when I realized that even after being a Christian for many years, that I was still far away from what God would have me to be. I realized that I'd been a bad example of many people who were looking to me, and I was here boasting about how much of a Christian I was. Because the more I've learned about Christ, the more I realize that I myself have many apologies that I must give people. My own family members, people that I've met in times past. But even though I have to apologize for being a misrepresentative of Christ, God still loves me. And because I know that, and I've seen that, I can tell my brethren and everyone else that God still loves them too.